Your fairy godmother at your service.
It can't be.
I was beginning to lose hope.
You are dazzling.
You'll see me again. But for now, I have to leave.
So, first of all, you look to be having an absolute blast here as the fairy godmother. And so, what was your initial thought when approached with a twisted take on Cinderella?
I mean, I think look, these movies are trending right now. I think this fairy tale horror version, of the fairy tale thing is really trendy. I read the script. I actually initially, fun fact, was offered the role of the stepmother, and I loved the fairy godmother role. And I knew they wanted to go older, and I knew they were going to give it to some unbelievable, incredible British actress who was fantastic. But I just I just wasn't feeling the stepmother role. It was so one-dimensional. Also, my English accent. So I just read that role and I just thought, God, this is fun. Like when I was reading it, I was having fun. And that's how I want to feel when I'm doing a movie, right? Not always, because
Yeah.
often it's not that, but I thought, yeah, this is something this is something a little different. I love comedy. I never get to do it.
Mhm.
And my fan base is very sci-fi horror. And I thought, what a great little marriage, right? Marry the two together. So
Yeah, it's a very fun role, and but now that you said that you could have potentially been the stepmother, and I'm like, ooh, because she was so just unlikable as a character that it would have been great. But I loved you as the fairy godmother, so it all worked out.
thank you. Thank you.
And so your character dropped some modern pop culture references,
Yeah.
and was that in the script as is, or did you play with different references on set to see what would work?
That's a great question. No, actually, the only thing we did on set, I think it was just for the matter of rights and stuff, was take out some of the designers like Vidal Sassoon or Christine Louboutin or Elon Musk. We took these names out in case they couldn't use them for some reason. So
Mhm.
we played around. But no, it was written, honest to God. I think I said every word that was in the script. There was no improv. It was just written fun. It was written
Yeah.
that way. Yeah.
Well, and as an actor, this role must have been a dream just for the fact that you're a couple scenes on one or two sets and you get to be the catalyst for so much of the story.
Mm.
What is it that you look for specifically when accepting a role?
Um, where it films, how much money they'll pay. You're never supposed to say that as an actor,
I
right?
know. Those are the best responses, though.
So, no, I'm kidding. No, not entirely. I turn down roles all the time that I don't want to do, and don't get roles that I want all the time. So it's a combination of a lot of things, of course. But
Mhm.
this one again, like reading it was fun, and for me it's either certain scripts really speak to me because, and you never know how a movie's going to turn out. There's so many elements involved, like unless you're working with, even then, like some incredible director who you've seen 5 of their films and you've been blown away and you have 50 amazing actors behind it, you still don't know what you're going to get. Some of those films don't even turn out, so you don't know. And these are smaller independent films, and so the risk is higher in many ways. Lighting, and they're rushing through, and you're trying to get a million shots in a day, and they don't have the time, and they don't have the money, and the sets and this and that.
Mhm.
So then at that point, if you're doing smaller things anyway, you just want to like the material, at least like I'm going to have a good time with this, And you're right. This character was such the catalyst for Cinderella that getting to be the little devil on her shoulder was kind of a lot of fun with no qualms, no self-awareness, no shame. Playing a character with no shame is always fun because we don't get to do that in life that much, right? There's always like a little, oh, did I say the wrong thing? Ooh.
Yeah.
And to not have to do that, it's fucking awesome.
And the fact that she has such control over every situation. So that must be very fun to play because then it's like you just get to command the set.
Yeah. And the tongue-in-cheek humor of the character too, like even, coming in with a pretend English accent, and like, because fairy godmother should be English. She should.
Mhm.
Just kidding. It's like all of those kinds of fun little quirks I thought were just fun to play. Just funny.
Yeah, I found myself really enjoying the essentially the parodies on the TV movie versions of Cinderella with like the cameos and stuff, which obviously with all the different designers. So there was definitely a lot of very unique things that I wasn't expecting to be targeted in this film that worked out really well.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well,
Thank
and I
you.
have to ask too. So, as you said, these kinds of movies, I would call them public domain horror films, have been all the rage lately. And
Mhm.
I'm not sure if you've heard, but they're doing something called the Poonaverse. And
Oh,
so
another Winnie the Pooh version thing?
it's
Another?
like the Winnie the Pooh thing. It's like a universe, like the MCU, but for the whole for that
Oh,
whole thing.
oh, wow.
So I was curious, would you be down as the fairy godmother if you were to get yourself involved with one of these with one of these other horror tales?
Yes. Or Glinda, the good witch of the, I mean, I don't know who's in this universe. So to be honest, in the Pooniverse, I don't know who's in that. Who's in that? Who's in that? I don't.
I think everyone's just trying to do their different thing right now and establish their own thing. So maybe we'll get to
Right,
see these combine.
right, right. I want options. I want some options. I want to play a different character now.
Yeah. Well, and then obviously, as the fairy godmother, your character provides a lot of support and advice for Cinderella. Given your long career in Hollywood, I'm curious if that carried over on the set and if you gave Lauren any advice.
God, that girl could give me advice all day long. She can act around me. She's such a great actress, really, really great actress. Um, we did talk a little bit. We definitely talked about life and boys and relationships and love and acting. And she did ask for a lot of advice. And I was like, girl, you're doing it all. I don't have anything to tell you. I mean, um, it's such a different journey for everyone, so it's so funny. And when you see somebody who you genuinely think is just uber talented, you just let them do their thing. That's it.
Yeah.
Like I got nothing for you, but I am trying to hook her up with my American agents and stuff because I just thought she was so talented. Watching her and working with her was a dream. I loved it.
Yeah, she's very talented and definitely has a lot of presence on screen.
Yes, to play that combination of things, to be that fragile and fearful and that lethal at the same time is not everybody can do that. It's a
Yeah.
real gift to be able to do that. And she's got it in spades. She's got the gift.
But I have to ask too, because there have been rumors of a legacy sequel for Species for, I don't know, the last 5, 6 years at this point, and sexuality has been a strangely controversial topic as of late. So do you think a Species film is even possible in this sexually sensitive landscape?
Well, that's a really good question. I've heard some talks about different shows and things that they might still be doing with the Species franchise. MGM, various people, because I've looked into something myself to do with Species. And so that's still out there. I don't think that the sexuality part of it is such an issue, to be honest with you. I think it's about how it's done.
Yeah.
And I think in many ways, Species was ahead of its time in the way that she was very in control of the sexuality. She was in control of what happens to her or whatever. And so in that way, I think it was ahead of its time. I think it would be fine
Yeah.
today. I think, yeah.
Well, and I also have to ask too, because I'm actually covering Ghosts of Mars this week. Oddly
Oh,
enough, it just happened.
oh,
And so I was wondering what it was like to join that production at the last minute, because everything
well,
online is saying that you joined like a week before shooting.
I did join very, very soon before shooting. Actually, Courtney Love was meant to play it and something fell apart. I don't know what it was. I don't remember the details, but something fell apart. And my, at the time, boyfriend and father of my two children was cast in the movie already. And he said to John Carpenter, he's like, because the movie was falling apart. They didn't know they had to cast somebody quickly.
Hmm.
And they built like massive sets and spent a fortune and, the whole thing. And so my boyfriend at the time, said to John Carpenter, my girlfriend's an actress. And he goes, who is it? Natasha Henstridge, blah, blah, blah. And he wanted to meet me right away. And then I started training immediately for stunts. Luckily, I was pretty good in that kickboxing and all that kind of stuff. I was pretty active and good at that kind of stuff because there was a lot of that in the film.
Yeah.
So I did get hired on really last minute, but for me, that's the fun. I actually prefer spontaneity, like even doing interviews. I remember going on these late night talk shows and they always want to talk to you about every detail of what's going to happen in the interview. And I'm like, just bring it on me, because if I think too much and I try to formulate my thoughts beforehand, it just comes across as so saccharine sweet. It just doesn't come across as real, right? So
Yeah.
I like the spontaneity of that, and I don't mind the lack of prep for some kinds of movies.
Well,
That's fine.
that's crazy because like so much of that film rests on your shoulders. So I would imagine it would be daunting having so little prep time. So the fact that you were like took it on as a challenge is
I did.
impressive.
Yeah. I'm like, let's just go with the flow. Just guide me. What's happening? Where are we going, John? Let's go. Yeah. Yeah.
Well, and finally, I have to ask, so have you been able to see Cinderella's Revenge yourself?
I have seen it.
You
I
have?
Yes, and I don't like to watch a lot of stuff that I'm in, but it's also very hard to talk about a movie that you haven't seen. So I have to suck it up and watch it anyway. Even if
Well,
it's horror, and I don't like horror movies.
oh no, really?
I'm a little squeamish when it comes.
Oh, well, I was gonna say I would love to see you in even more horror just like this, but I guess maybe that won't be in the cards quite as much if you're not as into it.
No, making them is cool. Making them
Yeah,
is awesome. Yeah.
yeah.
No, I'm not making them at all.
Do you have any plans for, because I know Cinderella's Revenge is doing a very brief theatrical run. Do you have any plans to actually go to any screenings?
I was loving the idea of going to a screening, except for the fact that it falls on a time that my son is getting married and I'm going to be in Virginia.
Oh
So
no.
I'm bummed because, and you know what? I'll see how it's doing. And if it's in theater, we'll see how long it's in theaters, because I'll
Mhm.
go with some friends or something for a laugh, because it's a total go with your buddies, have a laugh, eat some popcorn, get scared, popcorn throwing kind of movie. You know what I mean? It's one of those
Absolutely.
fun things. So hopefully when I get back, it'll still be in the theaters and we'll
Yeah.
get to check it out.